Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you are having a wonderful Christmas holiday season. As we head out of 2022, heading into 2023, I wanted to reflect on the year and talk about some of my personal favorite commanders of the year. Now, I don't remember the exact number, but it's a crazy number. Somewhere in the ballpark of like 20-25% of all commanders that exist in total were all printed in the last year, which is insane. That is evidence that we are taking the whole design for commander thing way too far. But to focus on the positives here, here's a few honorable mentions that aren't quite top 10, but are still really cool. The research for this video was absolutely bonkers. I'll also show that off to the side here, the filtering that I used on my app to kind of look at everything. It was insane. There's so many cards and there's so many sets. But again, we're going to focus on the positives today, and obviously this kind of list is purely subjective, is completely my own personal opinion, and I'm gonna probably mention cards you didn't think about, and you're probably thinking about cards that I'm not thinking about, and because of these couple things I'm showing you, it's entirely possible I just overlooked it or forgot about it. So let me know in the comments down below what a few of your favorite commanders of the year are. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the list. Number 10, Shieldred the Apocalypse. For 2 black, it's a 4/5 legendary Phyrexian Praetor with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. This is peak design for Magic the Gathering. It's a decent body. It has a strong effect, but it's simple. It's straightforward. It's obvious what it does. It's not 3 paragraphs of text in the sense of like you have to constantly reread it to remember what it does. No, it's very straightforward, very easy to understand what's going on. That's the kind of design I like. Strong, but simple and straightforward. Now granted, I don't actually think that this card is specifically a great commander, though I think it could be, but I think it goes in the 99 of a lot of other decks. There's a card higher up on this list that I actually built a deck for that I would, if Shieldred ever drops below its current price, I will probably drop it in there, but yeah, Shieldred's a all-star in Standard right now, but even when it rotates out of Standard, I think the Commander players like this card enough that I might just have to bite the bullet and spend way too much money on this stupid thing. All right, number 9, we have Shorakai Genesis Engine. So this is one of the Commander Precon, from one of the Commander Precon decks for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. This is for 2 white, blue. It's an 8/8 vehicle, so legendary artifact with crew 8, and it can be your commander. And then you can pay 1, tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card, create a 1/1 pilot creature token with this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. I actually did have this precon and I upgraded it, made it a vehicle deck, ended up taking it apart because it was kind of too strong, but I still run Shorakai in the 99 of a couple other decks as well. I think the reason Shorakai is so cool is because there's a couple different ways that you can go with it, both as a commander and in the 99. 1, you can do the vehicle thing, which is what the precon did, and you can upgrade it, make it stronger. 2, you could just do artifact themes. 3, you could do tokens. There's a couple infinite combos that involve token synergies. 4, card draw matters, looting matters, stuff like that, discard, graveyard. And you could also just straight up run it for value. I mean, it's just a decent rate. 4 mana for something that's going to give you repeatable looting, but like better than looting, and then eventually it can turn into one hefty beater. Awesome card, whether it's a commander or in the 99. Next up is another Commander Precon secondary commander that's way cooler than the actual commander. This is Marneus Calgar for 2 and then Esper. It's a 3/5 double striker. Whenever 1 or more token enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card, and then you can pay 6, create 2/2/2 white Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance. I have this precon. Jason played it in episode 2 of our Commander gameplay series. Go check that video out if you haven't. It's one of our lesser watched videos in the series, but I thought it was a really sick game. This is just really powerful, and also Esper being a tokens matter synergy is kind of weird, but then having it like draw cards as a result is kind of on theme still. It's incredibly powerful, it's incredibly fun, and there's a couple different ways to take it. So number 7 is another card from the Warhammer series. This is Trazyn the Infinite. I assume that's how you pronounce that. For 4 black, it's a 4/6 with Death Touch, and as long as it is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all artifacts in your graveyard. The Infinite is a great way to, is a great name for this because there are infinite combos with this card. And then black also just getting more artifact synergies in recent years is really cool. And honestly, the Necron deck is just a really cool deck in general. My brother Steven, he played the Necron deck in that game I just mentioned, the Warhammer game, and it was his first mono black deck. It's his first artifact deck, which is just a really cool combo. It's a really cool deck, and Trazyn, out of the box, not a good substitute for the commander in that deck, but if you specifically build around it, it's really, really strong, really interesting, and I'm thinking about building a deck around it, just as a different way to do artifact decks. Number 6 is another mono black commander. This is brand new from the Brothers War. This is Gix Yawgmoth Praetor for 1 black. It's a 3/3 Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. And then you can pay 4 black, discard X cards, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. This is a really cool card because I like the political aspect of Commander. Like I've mentioned before, the Commander is not even my favorite format, but the thing that makes me like it as much as I do is the political aspect of it. And I feel like Gix, it kind of does that and it encourages this weird politicking behavior. And then in the late game, when you have a lot of mana, it gives you an opportunity to steal cards from your opponents, which is fun, and I also just like creatures with mana sinks anyways. Gives you something later to do in the game if you're, you know, in top deck mode and things aren't going your way. I don't know if this is necessarily a commander that I would build around, but like I've said with some of the other cards, great 99 inclusion, awesome legendary creature. Number 5 on the list is Be'lakor the Dark Master. For 3 and Grixis, it's a 6/5 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of demons you control. And then whenever another demon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This is quite easily the best demon commander. Like if you're gonna play Demon Tribal, this is by far the best option you can do. Part of the reason that demons are just not a great tribe in Magic, in Commander as a tribal deck is they're big and they're clunky. So giving immediate payoff when Be'lakor enters the battlefield, getting immediate advantage that way. And then also if it gets to stick around, you'll get a little bit more value. Chances are you're only gonna get to draw a couple cards off of it, and you're only gonna probably get the second ability a couple of times as well, because someone's either gonna just win the game because they're a faster deck than you, or they're gonna team up on you because you're gaining value and have these big scary creatures. So Be'lakor is actually, I think, perfectly fair, but also if you're gonna do Demon Tribal, it's by far the best option, and it enables some really awesome stuff for a really cool tribe. Number 4, this is Myrkul, Lord of Bones. This is for 4 and Abzan. It's a 7/5 god. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, it has indestructible. And whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an enchantment, and loses all other card types. Jason in our play group, who's been in several of our Commander videos at this point, he has a Myrkul deck, and it is sweet. I've always wanted an Abzan deck. And from the moment this card was spoiled, I've been thinking, I kind of want to build this. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about it. Let me know what cards you think I should include in it. You just play a bunch of creatures that have good static abilities, and then you find ways to just sacrifice them, whether that's playing your own board wipes or having sack outlets on board, and then you just get to recur them, and they get to just stick around as enchantments, which, yeah, obviously now you can't attack with them, but you just get to have their abilities, and there's a lot of really cool shenanigans that can ensue. Very creative, and obviously that's how it got into my top 4. Number 3 is the newest card to make the list, and it's I don't think this is even a card I would build, but it's hilarious. I can't not mention it. This is Kibbo, Uktabi Prince. For 2 and a red, it's a 2/2 legendary monkey noble. You can tap it. Each player creates a colorless artifact token named Banana. With tap, sacrifice this artifact, add red or green, you gain 2 life. Whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control that's an ape or a monkey, and then whenever it attacks, defending player sacrifices an artifact. I think this card is actually pretty decent, just straight up in a Gruul deck for just artifact hate. I think with as many artifact decks running around, I would know I have a bunch of artifact decks. This is probably just a decent answer if you're playing red-green. But truly, this is like peak for Monkey Tribal. Yeah, it's just hilarious. And I mean, who doesn't want a banana token? I mean, banana token, oh, whether I build this deck or not, I need to get me a banana token just to have, because it's hilarious. Number 2 on my list is Queza, Augur of Agonies. Now, this is actually a deck I have built, and this is the deck I was mentioning that Shieldred would be great in the 99. I also have Shorkai in the 99 of this deck, but Queza is for 1 in Esper. It's a 3/4 Cephalid Advisor. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses a life and you gain a life. That's it. Now, granted, it's an uncommon commander, so the uncommon commanders tend to be not so wordy and tend to not be so strong. The biggest critique of Queza is obviously that you have to target just one opponent and you can't do it to each opponent. And granted, I think it could say each opponent loses a life and it wouldn't be broken. Regardless, this is just fun. This is the kind of Magic I like to play, is just dirtily nonsense. And this is the kind of card design I like. It's not super strong, but it gives you a very clear path on what you're supposed to do. Just one simple line of text. Mwah. Design masterpiece. All right, and then the last card on the list is also a deck I have built. This is Miram Sentinel Worm for 3 in Temur. It's a 6/6 flying Ward 2 Dragon Spirit. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. So this is a, limit yourself to green, blue, red, Dragon Tribal. I played this in episode 3 of our Commander gameplay series, check it out. And then in episode 10 of the Commander gameplay series, which I don't remember exactly what day that's supposed to come out. We're about to film it tomorrow as of the recording of this video, but I think it's gonna come out in like late March. But Steven will be playing this deck. We're doing an episode where everyone plays one of my decks and battle against each other. But this deck is just incredibly strong. I've only got to play it a couple times, but I've had 3 different versions of Dragon Tribal decks now at this point, and this is by far my favorite. Limiting yourself to only 2 or 3 colors, I feel like is, in a lot of ways, more fun than just straight up playing like the Dragon or something where you have access to all the colors of Magic. Yes, Dragon is technically probably stronger, but Miram is really sweet because getting a copy the dragons is something that should not go unnoticed. But that's gonna do it for me. That is my personal top 10 list of awesome legendary creatures from the year, whether they just be awesome cards that just happen to be legendaries, or I think they're specifically good commanders. But now it's time for me to hear from you. What are some of your personal favorite commanders from 2022? Again, there were just so many that I easily could have overlooked something, but then also every Magic player is different. We're all gonna have different preferences and different tastes and different ways we like to play, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all that. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you guys more in the next year.